All right, so this is Sean. I'll probably butcher it. Tumblety? Is that good? Tumblety. All right, he's the founder and CEO of Eco Smart Landscaping. And his love of the outdoors and interest in protecting the environment for his growing family in Derry made him found this company. So he'll talk about it a lot more. He offers both full service and do-it-yourself organic turf care programs. I actually hired him for our yard this year to try to get in a little bit better shape, and I trust doing organic stuff. And he also does other landscaping services. He was the Lake Smart program. They're not really doing it anymore, but they used to have a service providers program starting in 2021, and his company was one of the inaugural companies that was certified as lake friendly from New Hampshire Lakes. And they're also NOFA organic land care. They use all those guidelines. So he'll probably talk more about all that stuff. And he's going to talk about what he does and why he does it.
Thank you. Thank you, Jim. Thank you. Hello, everybody. I'm going to probably read a little bit more because my attention is like my ability to deal with bureaucracy. It's very bad. So I'll be doing a lot more reading than just speaking like the other people. So, but thank you for having me. I started this company to not just treat lawns, but to rethink about the way in which we look at lawns and what a nice lawn means. And I started it because my dog had gotten sick from chemical fertilizers. I kept having more children, and I have 5 boys, so they all eat dirt and rocks. And I kind of did a very, very deep dive on what the heck we're putting on our lawns and why the heck we're doing it. And I can go kind of full conspiracy. And I think there's a lot of money against a lot of the actual data that is related to the amount of chemicals that are put down nationwide. And I know this is more specific to lakes, but even around lakes, I see True Green. Well, I probably shouldn't say that, but I see a lot of companies. I see a lot of chemical companies on lakes, and it freaks me out. It's like it's devaluing properties. But yeah, I've gone down a deep rabbit hole of how bad this stuff is, and they're constantly coming out with new studies, and it's all like it's like it reminds me of the tobacco industry in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, where they were kind of covering up how bad it was, and then they lost the global lawsuit in the late 90s. I see a lot of that sort of cover up of what's happening. But again, I don't want to go too conspiracy. Lakes are very fragile, and so we want to be really careful with what we put in them. My dad had a house on Pawtucket Lake for a little bit before his divorce, but I grew up on a lake a little bit, and it was fantastic. And I just think we should be good stewards of our water. We're all on a watershed, whether you're near a lake or not. Everybody's on a watershed. It's going to make its way to a lake. So everything we use is slow release granular, and we do that very specifically because, one, it drives the root systems down better than, say, an organic tea, and it doesn't wash away like any sort of liquid organic. So we don't use any liquids because, in the same vein as a synthetic spray, it has the ability to drift. It has the ability to be washed away very quickly. So we're very particular about the products we use. And it drives down root systems because the nutrients aren't immediately readily available. So one of the downsides to organic turf care is it takes time. We're changing the biology of the soil. It's not like we're chemical and liquid organic changes the grass. My job is to change the biology of the soil to be more conducive to turf grass and less conducive to native growth. I don't like to use the word weeds. Again, I think there needs to be a shift in a perception of what a nice lawn means. And I know I'm kind of swimming against the current there, but I think we've been sold a commercialized idea of what a nice lawn is. When I see a monoculture lawn, to me it's like I don't want to play on that with my kids or my dogs. One of my kids breaks out pretty bad when we go to my neighbor's house who's very chemical. The idea is to create a soil that is healthy, that's full of microorganisms, organic matter. One of the phrases that I use that makes me sound smart is cation exchange capacity, and it's just sort of a fancy way of saying increasing the soil's ability to hold nutrients, and that's we don't want runoff, so holding the nutrients and the water is critical for things not washing away. So healthy soil does more than grow grass. It filters, it stabilizes, it protects, it reduces runoff, which means less risk of nutrient pollution in lakes. It enhances filtration. Instead of flowing over land, it supports microbial life that naturally process and break down potential pollutants. Even without thinking about rules or regulations, it's just kind of the right thing to do, in my opinion. So we avoid all synthetic herbicides, pesticides, liquid fertilizers. We don't do any of it. And so, there's three types of customers that I'm after. There's two types of customers. There's two types of customers I'm after, and there's three types of customers. One are the people that don't know I exist, that would love to use our product. There's another group that I call, I'm not going to name names. It's somebody that is very health conscious, but has no idea that. I have a buddy that would go out every morning and drink his coffee barefoot and get in touch with the ground, and he was chemically treating his lawn. And then we talked about it, and he's like, gee, I just never thought about it. So there's that group of people that, I'm after. And then there's the people that I would have to convince that organic's the way to go, and they're kind of last on my list at this point. It's not super hard because I can pretty much get anybody to agree that it's probably not good, to put chemicals down and herbicides, and the more studies that come out. One just came out like 4 weeks ago that if you live within a mile of a golf course, you're 126% more likely to get Parkinson's. They're slowly making progress, but then it's like, oh, that's correlation, not causation, and it's like, all right. We do offer DIY version of this, so we tell you when and what to put down. I'm trying to make this as affordable as possible because I want to get chemicals out of lawns. None of this, it may sound crazy, but none of this is about money for me. I don't care to travel. I really don't. I just hate chemicals, and I want to leave the world better for my kids than I found it. I know that sounds like baloney, but that's really true. I really do. Yeah, it's where was I going with that? Who knows? I don't think I need to tell you guys why water quality matters. You live there, you swim, you fish, and drink this water. I don't know if you drink the water. But the answer isn't complicated. Use slow-release fertilizers. Build up organic matter. Avoid anything synthetic that might wash away. Don't over-apply. Be patient with. Try to find slow-release products and be patient. Change the soil. Don't feed the grass. Feed the soil. Is the critical piece of this. We want really deep root systems that make grass pest tolerant and drought tolerant. We want to see some clover. We want to see some dandelion. We don't want it overridden with those things, but those are indicative of a healthy, natural lawn to me, and they don't burn out. I shouldn't say they don't burn out, because sometimes it's 95 degrees for 2 weeks, and we have cool season grasses that like soil temperatures between 50 and 75 degrees, but they're much more drought tolerant because the root systems are tapping into water that's deeper into the soil. I do try to advise people on the lake to be planting things like high bush blueberries and other stuff that'll help absorb any runoff just along the water's edge. There's a lot of different practices you can use, making sure that your slopes are appropriate, being careful if you have a really steep slope to not over apply in those areas. So there's that. Yeah, you don't need to choose between a nice lawn and a clean lake. You can do both. You just need to work with nature, not against it, and that's sort of what the organic turf care program is built around. No chemicals. We don't make any compromises. I start every conversation with new customers with disqualifiers. I'm not trying to sell it if they don't want to buy it or understand what the heck I'm talking about. And I usually start with saying, if you recoil in horror when you see a dandelion or a clover, this is not for you. And that usually ends about 20% of the conversations, which is good because that's not my customer and they don't get it, and I don't want to try to have to convince them. So, yeah, I mean, that's basically it. That's basically what we do. Was that 15 minutes? Was that too long?
Sounds good to me.
All right, thanks.
Any questions?
Yeah, some fella in the
There
back.
must be some questions out there.
Yeah, how important is aeration to the healthiness of the lawn and the soil?
Yeah, but it's important. We do it every year. That's part of the program. As part of the program, that's a big piece of cation exchange capacity. We get a lot, especially with people. A lot of our customers also have us mow, and there's a lot of compaction that leads to runoff. So we want to loosen the soil. So that's one of the ways we deal with cation exchange capacity is the aeration.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Where could I find this kind of granular fertilizer?
Through me. No, there's
Home Depot and find
no, you can't. It's made in a chicken feed factory it's not in Raleigh, Mass, but I buy it through PJC Organic in Raleigh, Mass. I don't know if they're not really focused on selling residentially, but you could always call. I mean, or we can just sell it to you for the DIY. Yeah. Anybody else? That's it. Thank you guys very much. Appreciate it. Have a great weekend.
Awesome, thank you. So Reinhold over here, who's in District 9 on Timberlane Road, she's been using them for a while, right?
Yeah, at least 5 years.
5 years, so
Maybe more. Yeah.
you can check out her lawn to see if you're satisfied with her, ask her any questions. I just started using him this year. I used to do things myself, and I actually stopped doing things for a couple years, and my lawn's gone terrible. So I decided to try go in the organic direction through him. So as he said, need to be patient because now my lawn has to recover from what I did to it. And I don't mind a mixture of all sorts of different stuff in there. As I said, I'm trying to do complete clover in my back thing. And I would do my whole lawn clover if I could get clover to work. It's just something that takes a little while to do. Any other questions or anything before we move on?